What if everything we knew about the universe was a local ordinance, a quaint provincial bylaw of our little cosmic neighborhood? For centuries, we've treated the speed of light, c equals 299,792,458 meters per second, as the universe's ultimate speed limit, the non-negotiable constant upon which all of reality is built. Relativity isn't just a theory, it's the foundation of our existence. But what if that foundation was merely the basement? What if, to continue the metaphor, we've been living in the basement of a skyscraper so vast we didn't even know there were floors above us? Imagine a universe where sea is not a barrier, but a shoreline. And we've just learned how to swim past the breakers. This isn't about going faster than light. This is about discovering that light itself is slow. The first, most profound and terrifying consequence of this new reality is the death of causality as we know it. In our old universe, effect followed cause with ironclad certainty. A bullet is fired, then it hits its target. You are born, you live, you die. This sequence is the thread from which the tapestry of reality is woven. But if you can move faster than the propagation of cause and effect, that thread unravels. You can arrive at a destination before you ever decided to leave. You could witness the end of a supernova before the star's core even began to collapse. An observer in this new regime wouldn't see a universe of events, but a static, block-like plenum of every single moment that ever was or will be, all existing simultaneously. We would cease to be time-bound creatures and become editors of reality. The power to not just travel through time, but to curate it, to pluck a desired effect from the future and place it in your present. The philosophical and physical implications are so staggering, they border on the theological. We would become, in a very real sense, the authors of our own past, present, and future, living in a state of permanent, chosen consequence. This is the first and most dizzying truth of a trans-sea universe, the end of time's arrow and the beginning of something infinitely more complex and beautiful, a universe of pure, navigable possibility. And as we push past this shoreline, the universe itself begins to change its language. In our subluminal existence, we navigate by the electromagnetic spectrum, light, radio waves, radar. These are our eyes and ears. But once you exceed C, your very perception of the cosmos undergoes a radical, disorienting shift. You are now moving faster than your own photons. You are outrunning the light you emit. This creates a phenomenon we can barely comprehend, a perpetual, omnidirectional optical boom. In water, when an object moves faster than the speed of sound in that medium, it creates a sonic boom. When an object moves faster than the light in a medium, it creates a shock wave of radiation called Cherenkov radiation, that eerie blue glow in nuclear reactors. Now, imagine that, but the medium is the vacuum of space itself. Except, we've always thought the vacuum had no speed limit for light. We were wrong. It does, and we've broken it. So what does a ship moving at trans-sea velocity see? It wouldn't see the stars ahead as points of light. It would see them as intense, focused cones of lethal radiation, a cosmic Cherenkov effect, blue shifted into a blazing, inhospitable glare. The entire forward view would be a wall of energy. Navigation by sight becomes impossible. Instead, you must learn to see with gravity. Gravitational waves, ripples in space-time itself, propagate at the speed of light. But your new sensors, your gravity eyes, must learn to interpret the Doppler-shifted gravity of stars and black holes ahead, reading the wrinkles in the fabric of the universe like a sailor reading waves on an ocean. The cosmos becomes a dark, silent sea of gravity, and you are a submarine, blind to light, but hyper-aware of the mass and momentum of everything around you. The beautiful, star-dusted sky of the ancients is replaced by a tactical, topographical map of sheer mass energy. You're not flying through space anymore. You're surfing the gravity wells of reality, riding the contours of space-time like a surfer on a wave. Your destination, not a point in space, but a harmonic convergence of gravitational forces. This new mode of travel shatters not just physics, but the very concept of exploration and empire. In our old model, the vast distances between stars were isolating prisons. A journey to Alpha Centauri would take 4 years, to the center of the galaxy, tens of thousands. This enforced a kind of cosmic solitude, making every star system an island universe. But now, with trans-sea travel, distance becomes almost meaningless. What matters is not how many light years you have to cross, but the gravitational complexity of the route. A journey across 100,000 light years of relatively empty galactic halo might be quicker and easier than a 10-light-year trip through a densely packed star cluster with complex interfering gravity fields. The galaxy would not be mapped in distances, but in gravitational gradients and currents. Great trans-sea highways would be discovered, rivers of smooth space-time flowing between galactic arms, and these would become the trade routes and frontiers of a new era. Furthermore, the Fermi paradox, where is everybody, is instantly solved, and the answer is terrifyingly simple. They were always here. We just couldn't perceive them. A civilization operating at trans-sea velocities would be utterly undetectable to our subluminal sensors. Their communications wouldn't be radio waves, which are limited to C, but something far more exotic, like quantum-entangled neutrino pulses or manipulations of space-time itself. Signals we are as blind to as a worm is blind to a radio broadcast. Their ships wouldn't reflect light in a way we can see. They'd be shrouded in their own Cherenkov radiation and gravitational wakes. The universe isn't empty. It's teeming with life and activity. We've simply been living in the slow lane, deaf and blind to the infinite lanes of hyper-express traffic buzzing all around us. We weren't alone. We were asleep at the wheel, and we've just now woken up.
But this power comes with an existential price tag far heavier than mere fuel. The psychological and biological impact on a transcranial traveler would be profound and alienating. You are no longer a citizen of a planet or a star system, but a citizen of causality itself. When you can revisit any moment of your own life, what is the value of a single experience? When you can undo any mistake, avert any tragedy, what is the meaning of loss or of victory? Human consciousness, our sense of self, is a narrative, a story we tell ourselves that runs in a straight line from birth to death. Transcranial travel shatters that narrative into a million fragments, all happening at once. You could be conversing with your younger self, attending your own funeral, and witnessing your birth, all within the same subjective moment. The very concept of you would expand into a chaotic, non-linear tapestry of every possible version of yourself. This could lead to a form of ultimate enlightenment, a godlike perspective on one's own existence, or it could lead to the most profound madness imaginable, a consciousness so scattered and paradoxical it simply ceases to cohere. Furthermore, biology would have to evolve or be engineered to withstand this. Your body is a collection of chemical reactions, and those reactions are bound by causality. Neural synapses fire in a sequence to create thought. Hormones are released to trigger emotions. In a transcranial state, these processes could desynchronize. You might feel the fear after the danger has passed. You might feel the pain of a wound before the injury occurs. your body would become a chaotic symphony of effects in search of their causes. To travel beyond light is to untether yourself from the very rhythm of life and step into a form of existence that is, by every definition we have, post-biological and post-human. So, what does this ultimately mean? The discovery that the speed of light is not a limit is not merely a scientific revision, it is a fundamental awakening. It reclassifies our entire history, from the first curious look at the stars to the launch of the first rocket, as the prehistory of a species that finally learned to open its eyes. It transforms the universe from a static, cold, and distant expanse into a dynamic, living, and deeply interconnected organism, a cosmic ocean with currents and tides we are only beginning to feel. The question shifts from, can we get there, to what will we become when we do? This new reality offers a form of freedom so absolute it is indistinguishable from omnipotence, but it demands a responsibility equally infinite. We would hold the power of gods, the power to shape time, to edit reality, to travel anywhere and anywhen, but would we retain the heart of humans? The curiosity that drove us to look up? The empathy that binds us together? Or would we shatter into a billion contradictory selves, lost in the infinite corridors of our own possible lives? The speed of light was never a cage, it was a cradle. It was the gentle, constant rhythm that allowed life and consciousness to form, to grow, and to dream of something more. Breaking that barrier isn't an escape, it's a birth, a violent, beautiful, and terrifying birth into a universe whose true scale, wonder, and danger we are only now, finally, prepared to glimpse. The journey is no longer outward, it is inward, into the deepest, most paradoxical layers of what reality, and indeed what we, truly are.